We're not going to make any excuses. We're going to chew everything that we got coming, obviously. But more importantly than that, we're going to focus on getting better. That's what's going to change the outcome of these football games. And those that don't ain't going to be a part of us. I have great patience. We'll continue to work and get better as long as I see belief and effort and continued improvement in detail, because that's what's going to change the outcome of these games. If I don't, they ain't going to be a part of it, whoever it may be. It's just that simple.
You are listening to Offensive Lines with Marlon and Boyd. Small stakes NFL gambling for the average fan.
Welcome to Offensive Lines for Week 5 picks. I'm Marlon.
I'm Boyd.
And from our little audio clip there, Mike Tomlin says he has great patience, so I just didn't hear that coming through.
No. If you're not working to get better, working on detail, you're gone.
Yeah, you're not going to be a part of it. And that applies to everyone.
Like who? Your rookie running back? Your quarterback? Your tight end? You cutting them? Doubt it.
Yeah, I don't... You know, they're on a bye week, so we can't fade them like I really want to. But I don't see what moves they can make here at this stage.
No, we have to fade them all year. They'll be favorites. We'll be getting money.
Oh, I know. I want to continue fading them, and I can't see what move they're going to make. They're getting marginally better, but...
Well, no, they played Minnesota in London.
Heath Miller helps. It finally gives Roethlisberger an outlet guy.
Yeah, but give me them playing on the road in an actual non-neutral environment. Fuck, I'll take them every week.
They'll still get their 5 Steelers calls, so always risky. But as soon as they're back, we're fading them again.
Yeah.
All right. If you want to hear our recap and thoughts about last weekend's action, check out our recap podcast through the website or iTunes.
Or Stitcher.
On
your Android device.
And as promised, let's get right to the games. The Thursday night game this week. Buffalo are 4-point underdogs going to the dog pound.
Yeah, otherwise known as the bag of shit game on Thursday.
Yeah, bag of shit game. Probably the first game that's even tempting me to gamble on a Thursday on the NFL. And I can be talked off that ledge really quick. I like Cleveland. We've both,
I do too.
We took Cleveland to win under 5.5. Part of me wants to start trying to win the money back on them right now, because I don't think that bet's going to cash for us. But it's Thursday night. Cleveland has no running game, which has been important on Thursday night games. They're the only players who tend to perform. And I can't really figure out Buffalo either.
No, they give up 500 yards to the Jets in offense, who got smoked by Tennessee, and beat Baltimore, hold the Patriots close. They make no sense. And Manuel did nothing on Sunday. It was like 10 of 22, and they still won that game just on Flacco's turnovers. Like, if Baltimore held the ball there, or basically just protected the ball, they win that game. Easy. So...
Well, if Baltimore had run the ball, I think was the big point you made there. I think there were 9 rushing attempts by Baltimore. They let Flacco throw 5 picks and look worse than that. But if you actually watched the game, his stat line looked good for how he played. He was absolutely fucking brutal.
But I'm not off this game because it's Thursday, but let's leave it in the mix and we'll see where we're at.
Okay, it's a soft mix because, a principle we've generally had is don't bet the Thursday.
and two crappy teams, because I'm not convinced Cleveland's not crappy still, but
I think they're above crappy, and I think Buffalo might be above crappy. I mean, this is a game, we don't bet the over-unders, and you particularly don't bet the unders. I really like betting this, whatever the over-under total is. I think this is going to be a 13-10 slugfest with two very questionable offenses against at least one and possibly two credible defenses on a Thursday.
Well, the only thing I'm looking forward to, and not just because I have him on my fantasy team, is seeing Jordan Cameron play, because I haven't watched Cleveland play. And just to see, because he's putting up numbers, and I just want to see how good he is.
Well, you said in one of our off-air conversations that you thought he seemed like Gronk. To me, he seems more like Gates, from what I've seen of him.
A little faster.
Yeah, little faster, little better moves, better in and out of the cuts. But I'm not committed to that assessment, because I'd like to see him play a whole game too.
Yeah, I haven't seen him play at all.
Block. I'd like to see him run routes through the middle. A lot of things I want to see about him. One thing I think we can agree on, though, at this stage, is he's good.
Yes.
When you're the principal offensive weapon and no one can stop you, it implies you're pretty good. Though at least one of those Baltimore touchdowns, just one-on-one to the corner of the end zone. What did you think they were going to go down? What did you think Cleveland was going to do in the red zone? Sorry. Boggles my mind sometimes. That was in the Baltimore game, his first touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
It was just simple. He was spread wide. Simple route. Bigger than the coverage man. One-on-one. Easy touchdown.
Well, I think Cleveland's going to win this. Pool players, Cleveland -4 or straight up, Cleveland, and I would take them to cover.
Yeah, I'm going to take them to cover too, because it's home, and Cleveland fans, the fact that they've won 2 games in September means that place will be an absolute madhouse.
And the Indians are in the playoffs.
Home field advantage.
Indians in the playoffs. Browns playing well. All they need is for LeBron to come back in 2014 in his free agent year, and everything will be good in Cleveland.
No, they'll find a way to break their hearts. Sorry, Cleveland.
That's true.
All right, moving to the Sunday games. First game on the slate, Baltimore is +3 at Miami.
I like Miami here a lot, but they didn't look very good against New Orleans. Too many turnovers. Cameron Wake's out.
And
I don't know
sacks. No one's been sacked more than Ryan Tannehill.
Was he hanging on to the ball too long?
Well, that's
the offensive line weak.
Even in the New Orleans game, I couldn't tell if that was the issue or not. On pace for 72 sacks this year.
Yikes.
He's fumbled 6 times. And he threw in 3 INTs. I originally thought this would be a game I would like, but really soured a lot on Miami after that Monday night fiasco.
Yeah, and after the New Orleans defensive lineman comes out and says they're not as good as people told us they were.
I missed that quote. I like that.
And Baltimore's defense has been playing pretty well. And Miami's not an explosive offensive team.
No. And Sproles just tore them apart. If there's a game where Ray Rice actually looks like Ray Rice, they don't hand the ball to him. They just throw it to him, because Miami's linebackers and safeties seemed utterly inept at covering a back out of the backfield on the pass. So I think I want to stay away on this one.
Yeah, me too. I don't mind Miami here, but playing the short week, playing the Monday nighter, getting their asses kicked. If they would have hung with New Orleans, I'd say let's take this game. But too many questions still.
Well, Sproul's second touchdown too. Shelly and I were watching it still at that point. And I just said, Sproles is faking a block and coming out of the backfield and going to the corner. Watch him. They didn't. Touchdown.
Well, and you know what Reggie Bush is doing in Detroit? Can you think how good Miami'd be if he was doing it for them? That's one move in the offseason I do not understand when you don't have anything to replace him with.
Well, Miami was moving the ball well against New Orleans, but a couple of turnovers and it got out of hand. And then they just abandoned the running game.
Yeah, but they don't have a running game.
Well, they did against New Orleans. They were picking up 6 yards of carry on first down when everyone knew they were running. I mean,
but there's no explosive. There's nothing.
There's nothing explosive.
The league has become points on the board as fast as you can. You have to be able to score quickly, generally, because other teams are. Like you said, a couple of turnovers, you're down 14. You have to be able to score, and you need explosive players to score. The amount of times you're going to score on a 15-play drive in a game is maybe once, if you're lucky. So Bush wouldn't have cost them that much money.
No, they
for a
spent
couple
it
of
all
years.
on Mike Wallace, one of the worst decisions. He's got no cuts, he's got no hands, and he's got no moves.
I get why they did it.
Runs down. Oh, come on,
No,
it's the
Marlon,
most
no.
overrated free agent last year.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but I get why they did it. Because they see where the league's going. It's what I've been saying all year, and I'm not the only one. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. But it's, you have to have receivers. And if you don't, you could have Bush. Bush would complement what they have now. When they just had Bush and no wideouts, that didn't work. But they were short-sighted in signing a wide receiver and getting rid of the threat out of the backfield. When are teams going to learn? Like, if you look at Darren Sproles, Reggie Bush can catch the fucking ball.
Oh, yeah.
When you look at what Sproles has done, everybody, when he was at San Diego, too small, too short, all this shit. But if you get him in places, and this is what I would like to know about all these quarterbacks that get ruined going to shit teams with shit coaches, is what could they do with a proper coach and proper scheme that fits their skill set? Because New Orleans didn't really give Bush a chance. They were rotating 8 backs through. He didn't rush off for fucking 200 yards his first 3 games, and they were, Bush isn't what we thought he'd be. They were looking to dump him after the first year. But if you put Reggie Bush in New Orleans right now, he's Darren Sproles squared.
I don't know that he's squared.
Marlon. He's putting up 100 a game or 120 a game in Detroit and 80 yards receiving. Is Jim Schwartz or whoever their offensive coordinator there a fucking genius? Like,
no, but
fucking...
Sproles has done that for a couple of years consistently. And
yes,
Reggie
but...
Bush, I think his head was wrong because when he went to Miami, all he said was, I want to be a between the tackles running back. I don't think he bought into the system. I don't think he fit into the culture there. And they replaced him with Sproles and they won a Super Bowl.
He never got a chance. No, Bush was there when they won the Super Bowl. They never got a chance. He never got a chance in New Orleans. They never ran him between the fucking tackles. They'd rush him 6 times a game. So every time he was in the game, they knew they were going to fucking throw him a swing pass. He got fucking, remember that playoff or that one regular season game where the Eagles lit him up? No, that was a playoff game. Where he got fucking lit up by the Eagles on that swing pass. Fucking nearly decapitated him. For as big a genius as Sean Payton is, he should be getting a lot of shit for letting Bush go. If you're an offensive genius and you can't figure out how to make him work, and they're making him work in fucking Miami and Detroit, and you're the genius, these geniuses get too many fucking passes. They're finally starting to come down on Parcells a little bit. Or not Parcells, Belichick a little bit. How much heat is Shanahan getting for fucking Griffin? And how shitty they look this year. They were a playoff team last year. and they look like shit.
Oh,
But anyway,
terrible.
Boyd rage over.
Yeah, that was a nice moment of Boyd rage. If you get a chance, I thought Bush was gone for the Super Bowl and it was Sproles, but
No, Kim Kardashian was on the set with the NFL Network. That's when they were dating. That's how. That's one of the reasons I remember it, because my wife was actually interested in watching the post game.
okay. Okay.
Bush was on set, and she came up on set. That was the end of their relationship. He's like, "This is my moment. Get the fuck out of here."
All right.
Badass.
That's
bitch.
a pretty specific memory, so I will cede that to you. We're staying away from this game. Still kind of fond of Miami, but a bunch of flaws came out in that
Well, their
game.
defense, no pass rush without Wake.
No, absolutely no pass rush without Wake. Next game
But
up,
Go for it.
Detroit +7 going into Green Bay.
I stay away from this game.
I kind of do too. In the previous game, do you know what? I'm gonna lay the 3 for Miami both ways.
Yeah, me too.
But I don't want us to gamble on it.
No.
The next game, again, 7 points. Detroit going into Green Bay. Green Bay off the bye. Backs to the wall relative to what Green Bay usually faces, even at this stage of the season.
I think Green Bay will win the game. I just don't know if they'll cover. They give up a lot of points. Yeah, they give up a lot of points.
Detroit's defense has been sneakily good. I mean, Chicago got a pile of garbage points there. But Detroit has been shockingly good at shutting down wideouts for most of the game.
But if you put up 32 points in a game, it's still too many.
Oh, yeah, but
the only team
they're
they
an
really shut down
undisciplined
was
team,
Washington.
and they seem to just... I mean, a lot of that Chicago comeback was so late that it was almost irrelevant. That score flattered the Bears.
Yeah, but
mightily.
What worries me here in this game is that Green Bay could be up 14 and Detroit gets that shit touchdown with a minute and a half left.
Oh, yeah.
To push it.
Well,
because I think Green Bay's going to win the game.
Almost why. Let's see what we've got on this board, because I found this to be a really difficult week to look at. I might take Detroit in the 7. We might have to talk about this.
I was thinking Green Bay in the 7. Detroit's like New Orleans. Different team on the road. Like, they should have destroyed Washington. They couldn't score points on Washington on the road on grass.
And Green Bay's defense is not much better than Washington's defense. And Detroit
no, I know, but either's Detroit's
for a win.
But either's Detroit's. Detroit's going to have to score. Detroit's going to have to score 35 points.
I think they
will win the game.
In
a shootout like that, I'll take the home team on grass against a team that hasn't proven they can really win on the road.
Okay, this is a
beating
dark
Washington
horse
on the road
mix,
doesn't impress
but let's throw it in a dark horse mix candidate. We'll see
and
what
let's
we
not
have.
Forget...
If we find nice candidates later on the board here, it'll be first off.
And they did lose to Arizona on the road, just to be fair.
True.
And a top flight team should win games on the road. If they're a top flight team, they're not impressing me on the road.
Yep.
Calvin Johnson, they have no tight end to speak of. And Reggie Bush.
No, Pettigrew isn't doing much. Reggie Bush could tear this team up, though.
And they just don't win in Green Bay. They don't. I know you hate trends, but they don't win in Green Bay. And it's not
win in Washington.
Back. Oh, come on.
Never had.
I know.
Well,
but Washington's fucking one of the bottom 5 worst teams in the league.
True.
This year. So I'm
just saying, well, let's see what we find on our board
Green
here.
Bay's offense can still put up 42 against anybody. That's what worries me about Green Bay. So
yeah,
And Stafford's good for a couple of picks in big games. Because this is where you could stomp on the throat of Green Bay and fucking end their season, basically. I just don't think Detroit's got the stones to do it.
That's a valid question. Valid question. All right, next game up. I'm glad we made some money on Jacksonville last week because they're catching on. Jacksonville is getting 11.5 going to the Rams.
Well, but I think Vegas got their ass handed to them on the Colts. How that was 8.5 last week after they went into San Francisco and beat them by 20, and Jacksonville's 8.5.
Well, from our podcast last week, I'm just going. They haven't come close to covering a spread yet. And then when you told me Gabbert was playing, I'm just like, well, gotta bet him. And then I kind of backed off because I hate laying 8.5 on a middle of the road team like Indy. But now 11.5. Could you imagine this year's Rams laying 11.5? If I told you that was going to happen.
I can't believe they're laying 11.5 now, even though it is Jacksonville. I can't. That spread's too high. It could be
but
a
I'm
6-3
staying
final.
away.
It could be a 6-3 final.
Yeah, like I'm staying away from this. I agree with you. They finally made Jacksonville unattractive to me.
But if I'm in a pool, I'm taking Jacksonville. I'm taking the 11.5. St. Louis is awful.
They really are, aren't they?
They have no wideouts. Jared Cook had a big game week 1. For some reason, they can't find him now.
Well, isn't that Fisher and Jared Cook? Does Jared Cook go out and screw Fisher's daughters? Like, he ignored him in Tennessee, as you bring up often.
I have no idea what goes on with those old coordinators that he has. Well, I do. He went out and hired Schottenheimer's kid, who couldn't run an offense in New York. What would make you think he developed some kind of skill set that would be valuable in the NFL after that? How do these coaches keep getting fucking jobs?
It's a fraternity. It's like, but my son needs work. But
Marlon, my job is on the line if I'm the head coach on who I bring in to work with me. I don't give a fuck if you're Newt Rockney's fucking great-grandson. You're not fucking
you and
coaching.
You're correct. I can't disagree with you at all.
But these coaches bring in, like Todd Haley, had a quasi Hall of Fame quarterback in Arizona and a Hall of Fame receiver. And he gets a head coaching job in Kansas City and fails. Pittsburgh's offenses looked like shit for 2 years, and the man still has a job. Maybe those naked pictures of his wife are going to Tom.
I was about to say, maybe he passes around the big fake boobs of his wife.
To Tomlin. Maybe give it to Tomlin in the offseason. Send this to Coach. I need to keep my job. Like, it makes no sense. Like, why are they so scared to give guys a chance? Why do they keep retreading these fucking guys that can't seem to work with the talent that they have? I don't get it.
Yeah.
He was ultra-conservative in New York, ultra-conservative here in St. Louis, and fuck, there's no way they're covering that.
Well, I mean, let's face it, ultra-conservative. I mean, it won Dad a bunch of rings. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, 11.5 is too much. I mean, I would love to chase Jacksonville around the board, but I heard one quote from a bookie that just said people were gleefully laying as much money as they could against any team that played Jacksonville like it was free money.
Well,
and it really was.
For the 3 years we've been doing this, that was the biggest fuck up I've ever seen Vegas make. On a
the
spread.
8.5?
Yeah. Against a team that was a playoff team the year before and had just beat a preseason Super Bowl favorite.
On the road, no less.
Yeah. But you know what they did? They took into the point that I brought up, and you talked me out of it, so good on you, was that Luck was 1-3. Indy was 1-3 with Luck as a quarterback against Jacksonville. That's what kept that number low. That's the fucking number Vegas went with that kept it low. So,
nevertheless, I don't want to bet this.
No, fuck. I wouldn't bet this with somebody else's money. Well, I might. But
as long as they didn't own firearms.
No, if they were giving me the money to bet.
Next game,
fun with it.
Next game is off the board by our rules because it involves Tennessee. Kansas City comes to Tennessee. They are 3-point favorites. With a locker quarterback, well, I mean, the spread would be different, but
it'd be a pick 'em.
Yeah. I would say very similar teams, really.
And they're still not really giving Kansas City all that much credit here because the -3 is plus 100. So this is almost like Vegas saying, we dare you to take Kansas City. We're giving you odds at the -3.
Kansas City's offense has not been good.
Well, I was just going to say, they've watched Alex Smith like you and I have. That offense is very suspect, and Tennessee's defense against a semi-immobile quarterback, we've been getting 4 or 5 sacks a game. And I'm using the royal we there, just for those at home.
Well, yeah. You suit up on Sundays. You fly out.
Yeah,
put on the headgear and the shoulder pads and
fetch water. No.
Tennessee's defense is an underrated unit too.
That's the only way we win the game. We have to win the turnover battle. We have to make Alex Smith move because when Philly made him move, he's as inaccurate as fuck. And when you look at their receiving core, there's not much there. If we can keep Charles in check, and I mean like 80, 90 yards rushing in check, even 110. But if we can keep him from busting out for a 40 or 50-yard run, we got a really good chance.
These are two teams that have the same game plan going in, semi-equivalent skill sets on both sides of the ball.
But what
it's a pick 'em game.
What I think kills us is having no mobility at quarterback right now, and Kansas City has a really good pass rush.
Yeah, particularly through the middle. Your O-line has some questions, and Jamal Charles is the best player on the field.
Yep. Well, and this is a big ask, but Chris Johnson is due for one of his games because he has like 3 or 4 a year that make people still think he's elite.
No, but that would please his fantasy owners, and he just says, fuck you, so.
Nah, I don't even care about that. Oh. Fantasy's secondary to them winning games. I don't give a fuck about fantasy.
Fantasy is always secondary. Thirdary.
Yes, win the bet. Teams win their games, bets.
Fantasy.
Yep. But he's due for one of those games, and he's had success against Kansas City before. And recently, they're basically the same defense. So I'm cautiously optimistic. This is the biggest game of the year. And I'm making a bold statement. If we win this game, Tennessee's in the playoffs.
Fair enough. This will be an interesting game. And this will be, I think, like a game from the early 90s. This is going to look like old football. This is smash mouth, physical dominance. Who wins in the trenches? It's not going to be high scoring. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. This is an old school football game.
And the reason I say this, whoever wins this, if Tennessee wins this game, they're in the playoffs, because it's going to be Kansas City they're fighting for a playoff spot.
For the wild card there.
For the wild card, the win will be huge if you have the tiebreaker, because the first tiebreaker's head to head. Because I could see these guys both being 11-5 or 10-6, Because Kansas City's got to be playing somebody good. Well, no, they don't. The Chargers are good. Raiders are 2 wins.
That's actually, I was gonna say, don't count out those Chargers. Though my defense isn't gonna make it. Chargers are a bit of a mirage, but the O is
they're
looking
not.
good.
They're not. It's the game you gave away to Houston, and it's the game Tennessee gave away to Houston too. That could cost them playoff spots.
Both of us, yeah.
Yeah, could cost us playoff spots, dude.
Anyway, in my mind, this is really a pick'em game. If it was in Arrowhead, I'd have no problem backing the Chiefs. I'm probably going to take the points and take Tennessee, but Jamal Charles is just in my head.
I'm going homer pick both ways on this one, just for karmic reasons, and I'm letting you know in advance. I honestly don't know who's going to win this game. If Fitzpatrick doesn't throw 2-3 picks, we've got a really good chance, because I think our defense can hold that offense down. The Giants did for a half.
Well, I think your defense can hold the offense down.
Because they're not scoring.
Accepted.
The offense in Kansas City is not scoring points driving the ball down the field. Their defense is giving them field position off turnovers.
But San Diego was able to dink and dunk against Tennessee too, and if Avery works, I mean, Bo's become an irrelevant factor.
17 points. You can dink and dunk all you want, but 17 points.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I actually really look forward to this, and I would, regardless of whether I knew you and was interested in Tennessee. I think it's going to be a smash-mouth football game. This is going to look like a game from the early 90s.
Like, I get into the Tennessee game, not last year, I didn't really, because there was no surprise there. I don't know what they've done with the defense over the offseason, somehow bringing Williams back. We've got that aggressive. We're blitzing a little bit in right spots. We're not just blitzing to blitz.
Yeah.
It's actually in spots, and we're getting pressure from our front four, so this will probably be the most intense I am as a fan in 3 years. So if they lose on a last-second field goal or a mistake, don't anybody phone me on Sunday afternoon.
I was just going to say, I'm not picking up the phone. All right.
I'm not happy.
Definitely not a betting game for our own rules as well as other reasons, but a game we both look forward to. Next game up. New England is getting 1.5 going to Cincinnati. Now this one I like.
Yeah, I like New England here.
And I like it money line. We're getting plus 100 on money line.
We're in agreement.
1.5 doesn't matter. We like Cincy. Their coaching is terrible. They can't seem to figure out their identity.
The only concern I have is Wilfork being out and what that does to the defense.
They find a way.
And Brady's finding his receivers again. And if Gronkowski's not back this week, I don't know what the fuck's going on there then. There was stories
it's New England
out there,
and injury reports. Come on, this is
no. There were stories out there that it's his dad that's keeping him out. Is convincing him not to play. The Patriots would have had. He's been cleared to play. That's why there was so much confusion last week on
that whole inactive clip we used to intro last week.
Yeah, he was cleared to play, and he's not playing. The Patriots thought he was going to be playing against Atlanta, and he didn't. So
he's more important than Amendola.
Yes.
Frankly.
Yes, but if they can get him back,
Brady has found a way to use those rookie wideouts and whoever, next man up. I mean, Mulligan now, who caught a touchdown in the Atlanta game, has a stat line of 1 catch, 1 yard, 1 TD. And I so hope he never catches another one. Not to wish ill on the man, but what an awesome stat line to retire with.
Do you want to book this one now?
Book it right now on the money line. Yeah.
So our $10 bet pays $20. Booked. But I'm putting that out. That's my only concern is Will Ford, because I loved this game when I saw the line.
I understand that too. Blount and Ridley, they can run. Cincinnati, they look like a different team. They look like they try to write it up from scratch every week. It's a talented goddamn team, and Marv Lewis is fucking it up. Bengals fans must feel like I felt with Norv the last few years. You know, I just see good players all over the field, and I never believe they're going to win.
Well, it's a shame for Charger fans and for you that AJ Smith and Schottenheimer, I know you're not very fond of him either. You kind of turned on him like I did Fisher at the end.
Yeah.
But when you go 14-2 and your coach is gone, that's your window.
Yeah, but do you know why he was fired? He wanted to hire the other Schottenheimer, was demanding that he become coordinator.
Well, there was more to it than that.
That was the big fucking issue.
They didn't speak for 2 fucking years.
Oh, I know, but there was more. That huge goddamn issue was he wanted to hire little Schottenheimer, who we just discussed how much he sucks.
Yeah, but you know what, Marlon? If I'm the GM, that's my job to make it work. We're 14-2.
Oh, I know, but when you get just a raging hard-on asshole, you're right, but do you know what? Not a bad line in the sand for that to come down to is, no, I will not let you hire your incompetent son.
No, that's fair. But if I'm a GM, I make him. You make him see. You can't. How can you throw away a chance at a ring?
Well, because we had so much talent then that honestly, the thought was the ring was coming, because I did believe it. It's a bad period in my life. I don't want to talk about it. But, you know, line in the sand as future history sort of shows that wasn't a terrible
Well, let's just put it this way.
To really draw the line in the sand on.
The owner made the wrong choice on who to keep then. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
I would have got rid of the GM and kept the coach.
But Marv Lewis, you know, in Cincinnati with their cheapness, that's the only reason Marv still has a job. Cincinnati is so much better than our other teams in this division. This is their fucking window, and
yeah, but you know what, Marlon?
It fucking close.
Let me just say this about Marv Lewis. If you went to Cleveland and said you could have Marv Lewis if he took you to the playoffs 2 years in a row, they'd sign the paper tomorrow.
Well, doing it with a minimal payroll and a whole bunch of
disadvantages,
criminal fuck-ups that
nobody's at a disadvantage.
Somehow he manages to make. You know, Pac-Man Jones is becoming not a great player, but not a total fuck-up.
No, he was good in Tennessee. They just got rid of him because they're tired of bailing him out of jail. But no, like, I know I don't think Marvin Lewis is a great coach, but if you can get to the playoffs in the division they were in, and the Steelers and the Ravens are down this year, but if you can make it to the playoffs 2 years in a row out of that division, you've done something.
Yeah,
I'll give you credit for that.
Making the best of the worst, but his game day coaching is terrible.
Well, that's Marlon,
maybe as a broad organizational coach, I give him a lot of credit. Game day coaching, he's a disaster.
Okay, well,
whether
who's a
that's
great
him
game day
or
coach?
the fact that he can't spend any money on assistants or what it is, but
Marlon, you can't. I could count on one hand great game day coaches that don't fuck up. Fuck that game in Tennessee.
You're talking
Sunday?
Against our damn bet here, man.
No, I'm not. I love it, New England in this game. But I watched the Tennessee game. They fucked up the 2-minute drill so bad. They would have went into the locker room with a timeout had Hunter not made an unbelievable catch in the end zone. They fucked that up so royally. It was brutal. So the game day coaches don't exist. There's, like I said, I count them on one hand. Who you trust with time management and play calling and all that stuff. there's one hand. But we'll move on.
Okay. And we've got a bet booked on that. And I think clearly from that, we are taking New England both ways for pool players.
Correct, sir.
Next game up, it's a pick'em game. New Orleans at Chicago.
I stay away from this game.
I stay away. I don't think Cutler usually has 3 of those games that fucked us last weekend. He usually has 3 of those a year. They don't usually come back to back. I'm still not sold on New Orleans, particularly on the road, on grass.
That was going to be my point. Yeah, I'll take Chicago both ways here for that same reason.
But we're not throwing a sweet dime at it.
No. If there was a money line.
Yeah, it's closed, interestingly enough. Well, on an even odds, we might as well, if we want, we could take Chicago at, 187, right?
Yep, but it's...
I just don't want to stay away. I haven't quite figured out these games. Chicago screwed us a couple of times. New Orleans, I can't get a feel for. I just want to stay away. It's home team. It's grass. That's my feeling. And I'm
that's exactly what I was going to say. Exactly what I was going to say. I was just getting ready to say it, and then you said it. So.
Oh, sorry, step on your line, man.
Fuck you. No. No, it's there. Everything I'm reading online is, New Orleans got that look like they did a few years ago. There's so much parity in the league right now. There's nobody great. Denver is the closest thing we have to a great team, and I still don't think they're going to the Super Bowl. But New Orleans is New Orleans, and Breeze will be. They should have lost in Tampa, and they've got a Super Bowl look.
And Atlanta had a good look to beat them too.
Can we just look at the teams that are 4-0 and actually assess who they've beaten?
Yeah.
New Orleans' best win is Atlanta when Atlanta was healthy. To me.
Yeah.
That's their best win. Kansas City? What's their best win?
Road short week Philadelphia. Mainly because of the short week.
But they looked like shit.
Yeah,
that just tells you what Philadelphia is.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Like if you're looking at AFC teams, I would put Indy right now as the second best team in the AFC behind Denver. Their win against San Francisco is more impressive than anything Denver's done.
Oh, easily. Because Denver's home loaded up front, too, which a lot of people are forgetting. Which will work for Peyton through the regular season because he won't get many weather games. It'll be in domes.
I'm waiting for weather.
I still think
Denver in the
they're the best looking team. Though I still don't believe their defense is being tested.
And he hasn't played a good defense yet.
Yeah.
Kansas City, when they go to Kansas City, that will be the test for me.
I think Seattle's making a case.
They can't win on the road.
Well, they just did.
Oh, but they stink on the fucking road. I know, Marlon, they're the best team in the NFC on paper. I'm still not sold. If they don't have a home game in the playoffs, are you betting on them?
Well, no, definitely not. But we should stick to the games here. We gotta get moving here.
Fuck it. Make them listen. You don't like
New Orleans. I mean, what? There's 5 4-0 teams.
Something like that.
So we've Kansas City, Seattle, Denver. We've touched on New Orleans. We've touched on.
Who's the other one? Is there another
New
one?
England.
New England.
New England is sneaky good, getting through their adversity right now.
Yeah, but I still
Actually,
say Indy. Out of all
Reasonable
those
enough.
games,
That win on San Francisco is the most impressive win that came out of fucking nowhere.
yes,
And it had nothing to do with Trent Richardson except emotionally.
yeah. I don't know. It gave him a shot of confidence or something.
Well, when your owner is less concerned about dollar signs than winning, that's the message that sent. And that's the message he sends to his team all the time. He may be crazy, he may be too involved, he may be a little bit Jerry Jones. But wouldn't you rather play for a team like that than Cincinnati, where Brown is just like, all right, I get to bank another $70 million off your black asses?
All right. Well, this next one will probably blow through pretty quick, so it'll make up for the time we wasted.
Philadelphia +2 at the New York Giants. This is off the board because it is two shitty teams.
If we were to bet on this game, I would take Philly.
I agree. A lot more potential there.
Giants look disjointed. They're bitching at each other.
They played one good half. I mean, the second audio we considered introing the show with was Coughlin. And, yeah, he turned purple and ripped into his offense in the press conference where he's going, it'd be nice if, the defense didn't have to trot out onto the field after 3 plays again.
Yeah, let's stay away. Take Philly both ways.
Yeah.
And we just shaved off 5 minutes from what we wasted on the last game.
Yeah.
And if you have any Giants,
two
fantasy,
shitty
I feel
teams.
sorry for you. But this could be Eli Manning's breakout game. He's got to be. Let's just say this about Eli Manning. He reminds me of Ben Roethlisberger a lot in the fact that they've both won 2 Super Bowls and a lot of games you'd never fucking know how they accomplished it. And Joe Flacco is going to be in that category by the end of this year too.
No, I have 10 times more respect for both Roethlisberger and Eli. That San Francisco title game was one of the toughest, most focused quarterback games I've ever seen in my life. And I haven't seen anything like that from Flacco. I've seen it from Ben too.
No, but Marlon,
I'll give him the credit. I mean, yeah, it's ancient history.
Just hear me out on the reasoning.
Okay.
The 2 Super Bowls they won, the Giants, they went on a run late in the season, and he put together like a hot streak of 4 or 5 games. Flacco did the same thing. Roethlisberger won the first Super Bowl. I think he threw it 18 times. Fucking.
And it was also a late season
What's his nut there?
road run too for the first Steelers.
And they fucking Roethlisberger fucking tackled the dude at the 50 on it by a shoestring. Is the only reason they got there that year. Bettis fumbled at the goal line. Fucking Vanderjagt kicked a fucking field goal.
Oh, and they got some ridiculous Steelers calls.
But
recall too.
Roethlisberger had, in that Super Bowl, he wasn't great. He had one good drive at the end. And everybody's, he's Hall of Fame quarterback. Please. He puts up decent numbers, but they haven't won fuck all. And Manning had 2 hot streaks to Flacco's 1. He's put up numbers. Roethlisberger's put up numbers. If you were drafting quarterbacks now, they'd go in the middle. If you took all the starters, they'd be in the middle of the fucking pile. All of them. They're not elite. That's where I look at the comparison. Brady puts up numbers and leads his team, and you look at what they're doing. His offense is no better than Pittsburgh's. That to me is greatness.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. They're not in that
could you
conversation.
give Tom?
I
Could you give Tom Brady,
the thing
Hakeem
that
Nicks,
pissed
and
me
Victor
off.
Cruz?
Thing that pissed me off there is Roethlisberger and Eli are so much better than Flacco. It's not even funny.
Same guys. Roethlisberger gets credit. When Ryan Tannehill holds on to the ball and takes too many sacks, it's his fault. Roethlisberger's tough. I don't know how that fucking narrative started. He's not that good a quarterback. Yeah, he stands in and takes punishment. Yeah, fumbled the ball at the fucking 6 because he was an idiot.
Well, this year. A lot of the times he's slithered around and thrown that bullshit ball that breaks your heart. Like, he does slither around in that fucking pocket, and how a man of that bulk.
The wins that he's got on his resume are 80% on the fucking defense. It's brutal. Flacco's Super Bowl is about as fucking meaningful as Trent Dilfer's to me.
Oh, I agree with that.
And Roethlisberger's first? Hines Ward threw more touchdown passes in that game than fucking Roethlisberger. So
that's kind of a funny number. I like that. All right.
Well, it took me that whole rant to remember his fucking name.
All right, our next game up. Interesting based on what you've said. Seattle's laying 3 going to Indianapolis.
Here's where we need to grow a sack. Take Indy on the money line. Seattle shouldn't have won that game last week. They fucking scraped through by the skin of their fucking teeth in Carolina. Russell, they're not going to. How many points are they going to score?
13. 13 on offense. My worry is the potential 7 to 14 on defense.
Yeah, but you know yourself that was fucking shit-ass luck.
Oh, blind luck. Ridiculous luck. I'd given up on the game.
And the game they won in Carolina on the road was a 50-yard heave that looked like the touchdown Baltimore got in the AFC playoff game against Denver last year where the guy misjudged the fucking ball.
Carolina fumbled on the game-winning drive.
At the 7.
Now, that said, Carolina is one of my favorite sleeper teams. But...
well, if we both believe they're the second best team in the AFC at home against a team that is very much like New Orleans on the road, and Russell Wilson is getting the same kind of credit that these other fucking losers have been getting, like Roethlisberger, who ride wins on their defense. Somehow Russell Wilson comes out smelling like a fucking rose.
Has not appeared.
No, Lynch had 94 yards.
You know what? I like your call.
San Francisco
I really
game,
like your call on this, boy.
If we're going to grow stones, this is the week.
We've had plenty of stones. You're implying we were stoneless before this game.
No, but we didn't. Why I'm saying that is because we should have had the stones to take Cleveland when we both loved them last week. And I talked us out of it. I reasoned myself out of it. Not that we didn't make money last week, but I reasoned ourselves out of it.
Yeah, but, I mean, here our payout isn't nearly as fucking juicy. All right, I'm going to put that down. Let's finish the board, because we've only got a few bets. But do you know what? I really think you fucking sold me on this.
Okay. But we'll keep going.
Yeah. Got a few more games to get to, and then we'll get to the short list. Carolina is minus 1.5 at Zona. This is a game I kind of like.
Well, I don't mind it either.
I think we're both going the same way here. As I just said,
Yeah,
Carolina is kind of
Arizona.
my sleeper pick. Yeah. Now, I have one caveat on that.
Me
Zona
too.
is a sneaking good home team. That's a
Especially the defense.
strange crowd.
Defense at home.
At
It's like
home.
Seattle at home.
Yeah.
It's weird. The crowd noise and the like the
For
Arizona
what's
games.
been a very mediocre team, I quite admire Cardinals fans, to be honest. Because they come out and they really support that team and they make a difference in that stadium.
But their offensive coordinator just came out and said the offense is putrid.
Oh,
Now,
that's a call to arms, but the offense is putrid.
what scares me is Carolina is bad on the road too. But
Well,
they lose games they should win. Do we really want to bet money on Ron Rivera?
That's a good second point.
Like we've kind of gone
Well,
against
last
the shit
week,
team
and
theory.
again, we made money, and a big part of our whole motivation on evaluating other teams was what we thought of Carolina. And our final decision was Carolina's good. That was kind of where we ended up on the dial.
No, I know.
Arizona could barely handle Tampa Bay with a rookie third-round quarterback.
Yeah, but do you think Detroit's offense is better than Carolina's?
Yes.
And Arizona beat them at home. And coaching there, Detroit, Carolina, fuck, they fight to the death over who has the shittiest coach.
Yeah, it's Ron Rivera who finally admitted that, like, he finally went for it in 4th and 1 when it was appropriate, and then he just said he fucked up the call. He didn't get the right call in. So that's disturbing to me.
It's just, I could see this game coming down to they need a field goal to win it at the end, down 2. Some fucking stupid like that, and they mismanage the clock and end up kicking a 55-yard field goal when they could have ran 2 more plays. But we can keep it in the mix.
Keep it in the mix because I actually really like Carolina, and in spite of like the 4 injuries to their defense, that defense is fucking ferocious. Here's another early 90s game of blood, sweat, and tears. Yeah, it's just terrible. Sorry. I apologize for saying that. I couldn't stop. I deserve that. But it's brutal. Like, it's going to be 23 points.
Which one?
Carolina at Arizona. 23 total points.
Yeah. Arizona has no running game. No receiver outside of Fitzgerald.
They've got one of the best cornerbacks in football, easily, in Peterson.
And kick returners.
Yeah, in the mix. I mean, I want to back Carolina, but I think you might be right. There might be better things available.
I would like to see him win a game on the road.
That's reasonable.
The Giant win doesn't really prove anything to me. I take more out of the Seattle game than the Giant game.
Well, yeah, I agree with that, but a shutout's a shutout.
No, I know. But Kansas City only gave up 7. I don't think the Giants are good. They don't score points against anybody.
No,
I'm just saying.
But anyone who, I mean, the believers in Carson Palmer.
Well, I don't think there's any of them left.
Talk about a fucking piece of shit hack.
Yeah, but whatever was left. Well, I didn't say that about you. Come on, that was a joke. Jesus. Okay, people, Marlon just left the building. I'll be carrying on unless he cut off the recording.
Yeah, I'll refuse to post. I'll burn it.
Oh. No, nobody believes in Carson Palmer. What were they going to get for what was available out there? Matt Smith
I mean,
they're-
preseason. Oh, this is the first legitimate quarterback Fitzgerald has had. And I'm going, under what criteria does Carson Palmer fit legitimate? He's a journeyman hack.
Yep. Yep. Who was never the same after the knee injury.
No, I mean, yeah, one good year. Anyway, and he put up good fantasy numbers in Oakland. Well, fucking throw that in my resume. Like, Jesus. All right. It might be in the mix, but now we're finding actually that we're getting a good list of games here that we might want to bet. So that one might not make it. I'm a big Carolina fan, though.
I know.
Not fan so much as I kind of
Betting.
believe they're a better team than people think and get a little value on them.
Marlon, they are. I agree with you, but
zone
the
at
past
home is
2
frightening.
years- No, but the past 2 years, they've lost, 9 games now? By less than a touchdown? That's not a coincidence.
That's
It's a
Rivera.
trend. That's Rivera.
Fair enough. All right. Next, we have Denver going to Dallas, favored by 8.5.
How is this line only 8.5?
I have no fucking idea.
This is in the parlay.
Oh,
Denver's in the
absolutely,
parlay.
absolutely. I like Dallas on certain levels till I saw them play San Diego, who, hey, they're my team. I love San Diego, but Jesus Christ, Dallas is inept. That may be the worst coaching staff assembled in history.
Oh, there's a lot of them.
Oh, they're pretty epic. Yeah, this is a parlay pick for sure, I think.
How is it 8.5? They've been beating everybody by 20 or 30.
And the Chargers just came back comfortably, ball controlled, and as we discussed in our recap, the way to beat the Chargers is not even no huddle, just hurry up. Chargers can't deal with it. Dallas was operating like it was the mid-70s with their urgency of play.
And Dallas just benched their number one, their first round pick, Morris Claiborne, cornerback. He's on the bench, so they're bringing in Skandrick. Their Manning is on a mission, and this is what bugs me about him. His goal is to get back all the records he lost or fell behind in when he was out a year. He's trying to make up for a missed year.
Well, and
stat-wise.
Also making up for, Brady's fuck you year with the Patriots.
But he's trying to get back on pace for the records.
Yeah.
Is what
That's
he's doing.
fine with me when we're betting this game.
Yes.
Because we are betting this game.
Oh.
Again, 8.5 is shocking to me. It's almost as shocking as 8.5 Indy over Jacksonville last week.
Well, and if St. Louis is laying 11.5 to the fucking Jaguars, how is Denver 8.5? We are taking
Phillip
Denver
Rivers
every week until they're favored
absolutely-
by more than 14.
Well, which will be next week when it's 27.5 was the advanced line.
I know.
But Phillip Rivers and the Chargers offense is pretty good, but it's a bunch of journeymen behind a makeshift O-line. Phillip Rivers tore that Dallas defense apart. Absolutely shredded them.
And they have nowhere near the weapons that...
Nothing
Like,
close.
Manning's got 2 wideouts, a slot receiver, and a tight end. That
And they
he'll
started
probably
to
put...
use Hillman, by the way, on swing-out routes, which was effective in the last 2 weeks, too.
And they'll probably take all 4 of them. Will probably go to the fucking Pro Bowl, his receivers.
It's ridiculous. I mean, you say parlay, I'm almost thinking we might just want to take this one as a single game. But, yeah, I mean, these eliminate some of my other mixed candidates.
No, but Marlon, why I want the parlay gives us the best return on investment. If we're going to go a single bet, I would take Indy.
Yeah, okay. We'll get to
And
that.
and try and put our sure bets, or what we think are sure bets, in the parlay, because it pays more.
Yeah, but we want to get at least one sure bet, which, is kind of our head situation, right? By our betting structure, we want to cash one, then we minimize our losses. We've got to use at least one of our single bets, which maybe I guess we've already used.
Yeah, that was our fuck. We booked it before we looked at 3 games.
Yeah,
that to me is our sure bet.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get through these last games here. We've got Houston +6 going to San Francisco. Game not unattractive.
What are you thinking?
San Fran.
Well, that's what I thought you were thinking, but
6 is too much to lay? Is that the argument here?
Well, Houston's defense is pretty good.
Yeah. And yeah, San Francisco throttled the Rams, but
if Indy wouldn't have gone into San Francisco and manhandled them, I would have a different take.
Yeah, and Russell Wilson, Kaepernick. I mean, Houston.
San Francisco is epically. St. Louis is epically bad.
Yeah.
So I don't give San Francisco much credit for rolling that win off. And it was close into the third quarter.
Yeah, and Houston did stuff Seattle's running game totally. And a big part of that Rams victory was Gore just going off. Yeah, let's take this one out of the mix. I still like the Niners because Houston shouldn't have a win. Well, should have one win on the board, and that one they lost.
Agreed. So I would take in the pool. I would take San Francisco both ways because Matt Schwab isn't a Super Bowl quarterback. They were burning his jerseys outside the stadium after the game. A guy actually went and paid.
Pronunciation there, by the way.
He actually went and paid for a jersey, all on tape. Went and bought the jersey and then burnt it.
Well, we've kind of been saying that for years. I think Matt Ryan's going to turn into that guy in Atlanta too, by the way. Spot the difference between those two. Yeah, so stay away, you're right. And then, starting at near midnight East Coast time.
Gotta love the baseball. You gotta love when the biggest sport in the land gets pushed aside for baseball. Takes precedent over baseball. Baseball takes precedent over football.
Well,
when does that happen?
Do you know why? Because the NFL Network gets the game. It comes off.
When they push it that late. ESPN gave up the game?
Yeah.
No, they're showing Houston
No, it
and
wasn't
San Francisco.
ESPN. Yeah, I know. It wasn't ESPN. It was,
NBC.
It would have been,
CBS.
Yeah. NFL Network gets the game. Why do you think they've rolled over like baboons presenting?
So they're playing a baseball game during the day in Oakland and then the football game at night.
No. The baseball game is Saturday. They said they needed at least 24 hours
to get the field ready.
Prepare the field.
Oh, that makes sense.
And so
they
now
have to reconfigure the whole fucking thing.
Well, yeah, whatever. Yeah, the only reason this was agreed to so quickly was because now the game is on NFL Network. And if you don't
And they-
carry NFL Network, you don't get the game. Not that NFL Network, you don't get the game. Not that a whole bunch of people on the planet care about San Diego at the Raiders.
I wish they were starting later. I like watching live sports at 10, 11, 1, 2 in the morning. I do. I'm weird that way. There's nothing ever on TV anyway.
Well, that's true. I mean, I guess I'm not against it. I just think it's a joke and funny. Why didn't we move to San Diego then? That stadium's doing nothing.
Could have just flipped home games with
Kind of
them.
like Baltimore. Don't even flip home games. Say, you know what? Your stadium isn't ready. You lose a home game.
Well, Baltimore didn't lose a home game.
No, but I mean that was done months in advance. But there are a lot of other options than to move it.
Why didn't you just flip it?
11:35. Are these guys gonna play the game in their pajamas?
Well, it's still only Marlon. It's no different than the start on the Monday nighter. San Diego and Oakland have played that game 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I know.
Opening
I'm trying to make a bigger deal out of it than it is.
It's fuck all. Really, it's no different than who had to go. Didn't San Diego have a game moved today and go play in Arizona because of the fires?
Oh yeah, we had a game entirely canceled. Well, not canceled, but moved. Our bye week was canceled for 9/11.
It's a game.
Any case, I actually like San Diego laying 5.
I wish we could bet on San Diego.
We can't.
I know.
And I don't mind them laying 5. So pool players, yeah, I think it's San Diego both ways, with or without Pryor. Raiders are a little better than I thought they'd be, but they're not good. San Diego's a lot better than I thought they'd be. They're still not good.
They're average.
Yeah. And, Rivers is playing great.
Yes.
2 picks, both pick sixes. One, actually, both were his fault. Eat the ball on that one against Dallas. Just eat the ball.
But he made up for it. You don't mind the pick sixes if you win the games.
Yeah, fair enough. And as long as your ratio is good, like with 16 TDs or 12 TDs and 2 picks, I'll take that ratio.
I could live with that.
Yeah. And the final game of the week, Jets are plus 9.5 at Atlanta.
I'm staying away from this game.
This isn't a classic stay away from me. Don't know either team. Can't figure them out.
Well, the Jets are bad.
I'm starting to think Atlanta is too. Why? And their coaching is bad. Their quarterback play is bad. Why at first and goal at the 4, you bring in your scat back as opposed to Snelling who can power, and then you go incompletion.
Oh, they did the same thing in New Orleans.
Yep. That's
Marlon, that goes to the
idiotic.
larger point I've made all year. There's no creativity at the goal line. It's either teams run it 3 times into somebody's ass or they throw the fade to the corner. Pretty much.
Yeah. Whatever. I don't trust or like either of these teams.
No. And let's see, can Geno Smith fumble off his ass for a second consecutive week?
Well, again, I think they've done their butt fumble tradition now, as you pointed out in the website. Their annual butt fumble. It's covered now.
Okay.
Okay, so let's finalize some bets here.
Well, I know which way I want to go.
All right, describe it to me.
I want Indy on the money line as a single bet. And New England and Denver parlay.
I'm not against that.
We take New England on the money line and Denver laying 8.5. For all the reasons we've discussed previously. I could be talked into swapping out New England for Carolina, but...
No, we already booked New England on the money line.
Oh, that's the one we booked already. Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll book Seattle. Okay, then we're going Carolina. I didn't have any other games. Did you?
Okay, so
I don't see any other games we talked about. Cleveland was the only other one was quasi in the mix. But do we want to bet on quasi shit teams on a Thursday?
no. Though it might make me watch the Thursday game, and so for that reason alone, I don't want to bet it.
Okay, so we're gonna bet Indy over Seattle on the money line. Plus 125, $10 pays $22.50. I'll call that our stone bet.
And then we've got Denver and Carolina. That doesn't seem right.
Why not? That's the only other games we liked.
Yeah?
It was Cleveland, Carolina, or Denver. But either way we go, Cleveland, Buffalo, or Carolina, Arizona, it's quasi-shit team playing quasi-shit team in either game. But we had no opinions that we liked any of the other games.
Yeah.
So you make the call between Carolina and Cleveland. Because you have stronger opinion on Carolina, so we might as well go with Carolina. You made a good argument for Carolina. And you've been toting them the whole year. And you've been good with that. Who'd you tote last year? There was a couple of years ago you were on a team. We were both you were on I was on Houston last year.
Yeah, last
2
year.
years
And the
ago.
year before I was all over Houston.
Yeah. And then you were soured on Houston last year, and I was on Houston last year.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going with Carolina and Denver. Road favorites. Carolina at Arizona. Carolina's laying a point and a half.
Hack.
Denver. That's not a hack, misspeaking. If I did a zippity doodah, that would be hack. Or Denver at the home of Tom Landry. That's hack. Denver at Dallas. Denver laying 8.5. Our 2-team parlay pays us $10 bet, $36.45. Going once, going twice, booked. See, that was bordering on hack.
Oh, that was total hack. No borderline there.
I just wanted to make you feel bad. I didn't want you to be
fair
on
enough,
the hack.
fair enough.
I didn't want you to be on the hack boat by yourself. Oh man, this was fun, buddy. Do you want to recap for everybody what our bets were?
All right. Our bets are we have New England on the money line at plus 100, so our $10 bet pays $20 back. We have, as Boyd calls it, our stone call. We have taken Indy on the money line for a $10 bet at plus 125, pays $22.50. Then we have Denver minus 8.5 on the road against Dallas, a shocking line to both of our minds. And we have parlayed that with Carolina winning at Arizona. Tough game. Probably our riskiest call of the week at this stage. Minus 1.5 going into the desert. That parlay pays on a $10 bet $36.45.
All right. So if you want to check out our podcast, go to iTunes, search Offensive Lines, or on your Android device, Stitcher. Same thing, search Offensive Lines. You can listen to it on our website, offensivelines.ca. Follow us on Twitter at Offensive Lines for updates to the website or to find out when the podcasts are available. You can also listen to our podcast on Facebook.com/Offensive Lines. And if you want to contact the podcast, just send us an email, offensivelines@shaw.ca. I'm Boyd.
I'm Marlon, the hack. That was Offensive Lines.
degenerate fucking gambler.